What's up, everyone? In this video, we have some very important things to talk about. First things first, we have basically a $13 million trade that's just absolutely crazy. So we're definitely going to talk about that. But we also have some important things to talk about related to Disney stock. They are one of the few stocks that just had a good day in the market today. And we also are going to cover some important things you need to know for the rest of the week. I do want to emphasize that there will be no trading on Thursday. The market will be closed for Thanksgiving, and then Friday we have an early close.
Yeah, we do. It is one of those shorter weeks, and we were a little bit scared that the market might end up being a little bit flat heading into maybe, the holidays here. And looking at the SPY again today, Mike, it was very choppy, and we pretty much stayed right between the range of Friday. So we pretty much stayed right between 392 and a high of 395.50. We did maybe break up or down, maybe just a few cents either direction there. But that was for the most part the big range today. And we just stayed right on track here. And the market's not really doing much right now. But as far as big stocks that are moving right now, Disney, Mike, had some amazing news. They had that big gap up this morning. They ended up 6.3%. They have some fantastic news where Bob Iger is coming back in as CEO. And I think this is a really good thing for Disney, Mike. I know Disney's been a stock that's been all over the place over the past couple years, and they've even gotten political. I've even heard some stuff where Chapek was kind of doing stuff in Florida with some of their bills down there. So keep that in mind. Disney's taken some flack the past couple years, but who knows? Maybe the CEO change is exactly what they needed for maybe some investors to maybe change their sentiment here. And it definitely seems like that happened today a little bit, Mike. They ended up closing up 6.3%, but they were up a lot higher even in pre-market there.
You know it. So we're going to talk more about Disney in just a couple minutes. It's actually one of my plays going into tomorrow. But related to Disney and the overall market, check out that heat map today, Tom. Mostly, it was a pretty red day. We saw a lot of selling pressure. Disney was one of the few stocks that actually had a decent day. But, like I said, we had Tesla down, Apple, Google, Meta, just lots of mediocre and red movement today.
Yeah, definitely. While Disney was up 6.3%, Tesla was actually down 6.84%. And I will say, Mike, Tesla has been on quite the downtrend lately. We've been talking about it quite a bit as well. Ever since they hit $200 and really confirmed off of that, they have been just flying back down with that news with Elon going into Twitter. Obviously, that's been sealing a lot of Tesla's thunder lately too. And I know a lot of people have just been upset with Elon. Obviously, he sold some shares a while ago and he promised he wouldn't sell anymore, obviously to fund the Twitter deal or anything, but he kind of broke his promises there and went against some people. And I will say, Mike, I think that kind of upset some investors, but hopefully Tesla turns around sometime soon. They are at new lows of the year, all the way down to 167, approaching a huge support I have at 140. And I do see some support here pretty close to 150 as well. So I'm curious to see where Tesla's going to start to make this low at, Mike, because it's pretty insane the way it's falling off like this.
No doubt. And what's scary about Tesla is, just like you said, with Elon selling shares, he promised that he wouldn't sell any more shares like months ago. And then the next thing you know, he sold more. So I feel like a lot of investors are just worried, like, all right, is he going to sell even more shares at this point? And I just think, like when stocks fall, it's just like that compound effect of fear. It's like when you have Tesla go from 200, which is a crucial level, just down to 180 and then 170, it just creates a lot of fear. And then a lot of times we see these downside moves just accelerate. So we'll see what happens. But, looking at Tesla, it's fallen very quickly. Like you said, it's at the low, it's at its low of year where many other big tech stocks are not.
Yeah, exactly. Like if we go look at something like, for example, Apple here, they've been on quite the uptrend actually over the past month or so, and they've been holding up very strong. Same thing with Microsoft, Oracle, ORCL. You can look at a lot of these bigger tech stocks, and a lot of them have been coming back up. Even AMD and NVIDIA have been popping back up over the past month or so. So to see Tesla lagging behind is definitely a big scare. And I know that all these crazy events are really starting to worry people. Definitely check out TSLQ. Over the next couple months, it was up 6.9% today. This stock will inverse Tesla. So every time Tesla falls, TSLQ should go up. And you can see today that was a pretty good move to the upside, 6.9%. Tesla itself only rose. Well, it was pretty close. I thought it was skewed by maybe like 0.5%, but it was within I would say a respectable percentage there.
Good stuff. So going throughout the rest of the week, what is on the schedule in terms of key economic data points and earnings?
Yeah, so economic data points are going to be huge here. We have the FOMC minutes, which pretty much just goes over what they were talking about more specifically at the last FOMC meeting. This will be coming out at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. And Wednesday morning, there will be some durable goods numbers along with new home sales as well to look out for. But in reality, I think that those minutes are really all that is going to really move the market there as far as economic data points. But I will say tomorrow, we do still have some pretty big stocks reporting earnings in the morning. So we have Best Buy, Dollar Tree, Dick's Sporting Goods, and Baidu reporting. I think that these are four pretty huge stocks, Mike. Dollar Tree has been talked about quite a bit because they have been holding up pretty well with inflation. You know, I know a lot of people like to switch over to buying cheaper products during during times of high inflation like this, whenever everything costs more. And I think Dollar Tree has been holding up quite well on the daily chart. Same thing if we go ahead and look at DKS. That's another stock that has been on quite the uptrend the past few months. Not holding up as well as Dollar Tree, I'd say, but still looking pretty good here. I'm curious to see what these stocks are going to do, Mike. Those are some pretty big retailers there. And heading into the holidays, Best Buy and Dick's should get a lot of attention, I think. And even Baidu should be pretty big. These China stocks have been insane lately. And look at Baidu's uptrend. I mean, they had a low all the way down around 75, and we were at 95. Now we're back down to around 94.80 though.
Yeah, you mentioned like Dick's and Best Buy. I'm very curious to see how those ones do, especially considering we saw a lot of retail earnings last week, especially like TJX, which that stock has just been soaring lately, which is, it's interesting to see, especially in this market. Like we were looking at earlier with Tesla, that's been struggling and many other stocks have been in the downtrend. So it's like when you see some companies not only at their all-time high, but actually like ripping to the upside in a strong way, it's worth paying attention to.
Yeah, 100%. And other retailers that have been on fire also include Walmart, Target. Well, I will say Target on their recent earnings dipped back down, but they were doing quite well before that earnings kind of moved them back lower there. But like Walmart's been running up to new highs of the year. Costco has been running up the past couple months too. So yeah, keep your eyes on these retailers like DKS and BBY. They should be pretty interesting stocks to say the least. And I think that Best Buy should do pretty well. Obviously people love technology, and I know Best Buy is usually one of those stocks, at least for like Black Friday, they always have like people camped outside and stuff like that. That doesn't necessarily mean the stock's going to rise, but hopefully we continue to see people spending like we have the past couple of years. But it's going to be crazy, Mike. The market was very flat today. I'm hoping that tomorrow we can maybe start to finally get some good movement, maybe some good breakouts, and maybe these retailers could maybe finally push us back up. I know today there was a big resistance on SPY around 395.50, and man, I'm really hoping that we could break that to the upside early on tomorrow.
All right, good stuff. So while we're still on the topic of earnings, we definitely have to talk about Zoom. Zoom stock reported earnings in after hours today, and honestly, they're just all over the place in after hours. Initially, they fell down, then they popped back up, and now they're down again. So they are all over the place. Their earnings were mixed. So technically, like, they beat on earnings, but they did have some like weak guidance going forward. Some of the key points that I saw was basically the number of customers contributing more than $100,000 in trailing 12 months revenue is up 31% year over year. So that's pretty big to see. Some of their, I guess you could say like whale customers, some of their customers who spend a lot of money with them are like, that group of people is growing by quite a respectable percentage, 31% year over year. So that's awesome. Also Zoom, if we go to like the dashboard, Tom, we can see that Zoom is like one of the few companies that has actually been very consistently growing their revenue year after year, quarter after quarter. And that's awesome to see, especially in a time where we're seeing like a lot of other companies right now, perform not the best, you can say. Another thing that is pretty interesting with Zoom is that Zoom has around $76 million in debt, but at the same time, they have over $5.5 billion in cash and short-term investments. So in terms of like cash related to debt, they're in a pretty strong position. They're a profitable company. They are a growth stock, but in my opinion, they're one of the growth stocks that is a lot stronger than your average growth stock, given their just financial situation as a whole. Also, the free cash flow positive. So, they're not bad at all.
Yeah, and Zoom obviously, it's one of those little, in my opinion, they're one of those outlier companies because they had that huge explosion during COVID because the COVID situation just put them in such a good spot. People were staying at home. Obviously, everybody had to use Zoom. It was one of those really hyped up stocks there for a little while. And I know Microsoft has their teams and Zoom obviously has competitors, but I really liked Zoom, Mike. They were one of those bigger stocks during that time. Now, obviously, that hype died off quite a bit. Now, I will say I did not expect the stock to come down this much, especially whenever you start to look at their fundamentals, Mike, like the debt and their total short-term cash and investments. When you compare those numbers, that is insane to see how much more cash that they really have. And I just can't believe that their stock has been falling off this much. But I will say it looks like they're starting to finally form a good support down here around $70 a share. And whenever Zoom does finally, kind of start to stabilize and go back up, I think you guys will be catching one of the better stocks out there. So keep your eyes on Zoom. I know that these earnings might not be the best and they might lower their guidance ever so slightly. But honestly, Mike, when I started looking at the numbers, the guidance wasn't even that bad. Like, look at this. They have an EPS, so they're looking at it to be 3.91 to 3.94 now, and they were expecting 3.66 to 3.69 a share. And then they're expecting 4.37 billion in revenue to 4.38 billion, and they were expecting 4.39 to 4.44. So it's like they're not really down that much. You're talking like a 0.01 billion to like a $0.1 billion difference there. It's not like they're really, adjusting this down by like 30% or anything like that. We're only talking about a couple percent here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another great key point. And when you look at Zoom's like stock chart, right now they're trading for around $80 a share, actually a little bit less. And if you zoom out way back, Tom, Zoom is basically trading at the same level it was in 2019 before COVID even started. It literally is. In 2019, before COVID started, Zoom had a high of like $107.34. So when you think about it, like it's just crazy to think like this stock was once trading for like $107 before COVID, and then after COVID hit, it went to highs of basically $600. Now it's all the way back down to before COVID even started. So this stock has had a wild ride. And I'm going to be honest with you, I like it, and I especially like it for the long term. Short term, anything can happen. I don't really care about the short term too much for this stock, but long term, I like it.
Yeah, and something that gives me a lot of confidence for the long term is really seeing those customers that spend more than $100,000 in 12 months. To see that number up 31% year over year is awesome. I've been following this number on Zoom's earnings pretty much every single time they report. So it's good to see it up. Once again, that does give me quite a bit of confidence with it. But Mike, I will say the market's been crazy today. One of my favorite stocks for this week is actually going to be the QQQ. Now, I'm actually not looking at this in a way that most people are probably going to like. I'm actually going to be looking at QQQ potentially to the downside here. I've been noticing a lot of these tech stocks have been falling down. Tesla, obviously being one of the main ones, pushing us back. Now, I will say it's not like every tech stock is falling. Like Microsoft did okay today. Apple was actually red. So you can tell it's been very mixed over the past couple of weeks. But I will be watching this big support. I see a huge one right around 280. If we break below that tomorrow, I will be watching for puts. But if I do see maybe a support bounce and we start bouncing back up, I can always reevaluate things. But I will be watching for those puts potentially.
Good stuff. Yeah, the market's been so choppy lately. It's been insane. So good stuff there. One stock I am really watching going into tomorrow is Disney. And this is actually the same stock I was talking about yesterday. So Basically the same setup as yesterday. It's bouncing off this $90 support level in a huge way. It also has some good news that came out with their CEO coming back. And then on top of that, now that the news has been digested with Disney, it's just one of the stronger stocks in the market overall. So it'll be easier for this one to rise in the event the market does go green. So I definitely like it. It's definitely on my watch list. Disney has been a little bit oversold over the past year or so. So I can definitely see it having some upwards price action.
Yeah, 100%. Mike, did you have some insider information or something? How did you know that Disney would go up today? I mean, I know that yesterday when you talked about it, you were pretty adamant on it. Did you know something? Like,
Oh,
what's going on here?
it was my crystal ball, Tom.
Yeah, I know, right? But hey, that's awesome. You know, Disney ended up flying up this morning. That's great news. I think this might really change the sentiment around for Disney. And I will say Disney has had some questionable decisions over the past couple of years. I know that when they got into it with in Florida with that "Don't Say Gay" bill, that really kind of made me question Disney there for a second, because why would they even get into it? You know, just stay out of that type of stuff. But yeah, nonetheless, I think Disney will be a pretty good stock. A second stock that I really like, Mike, is going to be US Steel, or X is the ticker. I will say, I noticed this stock had a very nice pop up today on the daily chart. We're almost back up to recent resistance, right around 24.80 or even $25. If I start to see a big push up tomorrow above 24.80, I will start to really watch X back to the upside. I thought that was a really good move up today, especially considering a lot of these other oil stocks and energy stocks really dipped down in the middle of the day and then flew back up. I thought it was nice to see X just hold strong pretty much all day. So I will be watching this one. It follows the company US Steel, which obviously can be impacted by higher steel prices, prices of metals, and stuff like that.
Good stuff. All right, another one I'm watching is AMD. This one is to the downside. Basically, in the event that the market breaks below the choppy range that it's been in for like the past week and a half, AMD will be one of the first stocks I look to for a downside play. It's pretty close to that $70 support level, and it's just been a little bit weak overall lately. So it's not a stock where I'm like, I just can't wait to get into a short position on. It's not like that. It's more so like if the market overall tanks down, I think AMD will be a good opportunity to play for the downside.
Yeah, definitely. I do too. You know, it's kind of similar to my QQQ play. They honestly are very similar, Mike. They could almost be the same play, honestly, when you think about it. But yeah, I do like it to the downside as well, just like I do the QQQ. So yeah, good play. AMD is definitely one of those more popular stocks that I feel like it gets a lot of volatility. Like there's always lots of big up and down moves with this one. And I am actually, Mike, noticing that there's like a bit of a trend line here on this longer chart as well. Check this out, going from like the high to the low. It's actually not lining up the best, but you know, you can kind of tell what I'm talking about. A little bit of like a trend line there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Tom, it is now time for the momentum plays. With the first one, we have NVIDIA to the downside.
Yeah, NVIDIA, AMD down, NVIDIA down. Let's go ahead and make them break below 150. It's actually at a pretty even level there.
All right, then with the next one, we have Enphase, also to the downside.
ENPH, man, that makes me sad that we're playing this one down here. Go ahead and make them break below 296, which is just below $300 here on this one.
Sounds good. And with the last one, we have Disney to the upside.
DIS, there we go. If they could break back intraday up above 99, I'll go ahead and look for them back up to that high of pre-market today around 101.
Sounds great. So we are watching Disney for potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. And then we are watching Enphase and NVIDIA for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. But it is now time for the $13 million trade. Today, we are looking at FXI yet again. So basically, today, some whale or some insider put around $13 million into the FXI 26 strike call options for March 17th of 2023. For those of you who don't trade options, basically all it means is that some hedge fund or someone with a ton of money is betting that FXI is going to rise a lot by March 17th of 2023. Basically, the person behind this trade needs FXI at the bare minimum above $26 just for these options to have any value. But the higher FXI goes, the more money they will make. This is one of many trades that we've seen in a bullish sense related to China stocks over the past couple of weeks. FXI is basically a bunch of Chinese stocks all in one ETF, you can say. So, this is a big money trade, Tom. We've been seeing a bunch of these lately, and, it looks pretty bullish to me.
Yeah, it really does. FXI is a crazy stock. That's a lot of money, Mike. I know that we've been talking about a lot of unusual options lately, and they've been usually, around 500K, maybe $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. This is $12 million, guys. Watch this one. March 17, 2023, 26 strike calls. I'm going to leave this up here on the FXI chart for a while, and we'll check back in a few months, Mike, and see how these babies do. But yeah, it definitely looks bullish. Keep in mind, FXI is on a bit of a downtrend right now. It's been kind of gapping down the past couple days. I do see a lot of support here around 25.60. And who knows, if we start to bounce off of here, that'd be great for them. But this play does have time. So just don't think that FXI is just going to fly up tomorrow or anything like that. Keep in mind, they have this now all the way out till March 17th of 2023. So like I said, short term, hopefully it pops up, but it might take a few days.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. It could take some time, it could take weeks. What I do like about following unusual options activity with China stocks is that they tend to work pretty well because they are kind of manipulated. So like when it comes to like smaller cap stocks and Chinese stocks and just like stocks like that, a lot of times like these insiders will just load up on options before a major event or whatever the case may be, and they tend to work pretty well. So, I will definitely be watching FXI specifically to the upside over the next couple weeks. I definitely like the risk reward scenario with this one, even though it is pretty risky.
Yeah, exactly. It could be risky, but these China stocks are due to go up. It's been a long time. They've been finally getting some good news coming in over the past couple months, and hopefully some of these meetings between Biden and Xi end up paying off. It seemed like Xi was pretty adamant that he wanted to get our relations a little bit better. So hopefully that is the case, and we can start to see these stocks moving up. But I know that we've been looking at a lot of these unusual options plays, Mike, and a lot of them have been seriously popping off. And I know that there was even one on FXI a few weeks ago that we capitalized on too. And that one ended up, doing fantastic. I think FXI was around 22 when that one came out.
Yeah, no doubt. If you guys like these style of trades, make sure to subscribe. We go over at least one of these trades in every single nightly video. So when you subscribe, you will see our videos recommended to you more often. So definitely make sure to subscribe. It takes 2 seconds, and these trades tend to work pretty dang good. But Tom, do you have any final thoughts heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, we need some pretty good moves out of the market. Like we keep saying, Mike, it's been very, very flat the past few days. I'm really waiting for a big break up or a big break down. Like we talked about yesterday, I even kind of like drew it out on the chart there a little bit. But yeah, I'm really watching this 393 support. I think intraday, that was a big level. I'm watching that 395.50 level for a nice break to the upside tomorrow. So hopefully we see a big move one way or the other. Some of these tech stocks are going crazy, like Disney, of course. So keep them on the radar too. We talked about them pretty much all video, but I am excited, Mike. We're finally getting some nice upwards momentum out of some of these stocks, and it's starting to look like some of these lower supports might be holding up, like in Disney's case here.
There we go. All right. Well, I also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, the Real Gecko in the Stocked Up Discord chat. You've been in the chat for well over 2 years now, and you're extremely active. So definitely keep it up. It's awesome to have you in the chat. Like Tom, just like you said, I'm very patiently waiting for the market to make a move. We've been in such a slow chop zone for the past week and a half, and when the move finally happens, there will be a bunch of great opportunity to go along with that. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and let's have an amazing week.